hope you're having a fantastic week so far. My name is Emma and welcome back to Pronunciation with Emma. In this live stream today, we're going to be going through your questions, which you have asked me on Instagram and Facebook. So I've taken a few. There were more, so I'm sorry if your question hasn't been included, but I don't want to do a 5-hour live stream just answering questions. I think you guys would get bored, and I most certainly would get bored. So I've taken some really interesting ones. I have 31 in total that we're going to go through. So let's see if this is interesting for you guys. Let's see. I see people are eager to start in the comments, so hello. Someone's asked about a WhatsApp group. That you should make a WhatsApp group. Yeah, definitely. Make one. Talk together. Practice your English. You don't have to talk to natives. We're going to talk about that today, actually, because someone has mentioned about improving pronunciation and talking and conversation and things without having any native friends. It's not necessary. You don't need native friends. You don't even need friends. You can talk to your dog. So I hope everyone is fine. I see that someone here is also in Bristol. Fantastic. Hello. I hope you're enjoying the weather today because it's so nice and sunny, but God, it's cold. So, hello everyone. Now, let's have a look then at the first question. So it should pop up in the corner like that. And hopefully it will work. Okay. So let's start with this first question here that someone asked. So Jeannie has asked, "Hi Emma," smiley face. "What is your biggest dream? If it's not a secret, of course." I thought about this, but I don't have a big dream. I mean, many people think I would love a big house, I would love a fast car, I want a Ferrari, I want to have a family and have children, these kind of things. But I have no big dream. I mean, I just want to be happy. That's it. Whatever I do in life, I just want to be happy and loved. That's it. Super simple. I want to be happy and loved. What about people in the comments? People are still saying that it's cold where they are. I know, it's freezing. But that's winter. I guess for many people now it will be coming to summer, won't it? So that would be interesting. Linza has asked, "How did you end up studying pronunciation? I know you are an English teacher, but was there anything in particular that inspired you to study this area?" That is a really good question. So I actually got interested in phonetics and phonology. So not even pronunciation, just phonetics and phonology when I was doing my linguistics degree. So my bachelor's degree was in English language and linguistics, and I did quite a few modules on phonetics and phonology with British pronunciation, American pronunciation. I also did modules in accents and dialects. So that was very interesting. And that's basically how I started getting interested in it. I had to memorize the entire IPA, the International Phonemic Alphabet, or Phonetic Alphabet, I should say. So yeah, I had to memorize all of that, the complete one, not the British one, but the complete one with all the sounds from every recorded language. So yeah, that was really tricky. And I just became fascinated by it. I really enjoyed it. And I still remember when I was studying in Spain, when I started teaching, and someone said to me, "You shouldn't teach with that accent of yours. You shouldn't really teach with a Yorkshire accent." Because at the time I had a very strong Yorkshire accent. And I mean, I did the Yorkshire video and thousands of people watched it and loved it. So yeah, that's basically how I started with that one. So it all started from my linguistics degree, basically. Next one. So Rich has said, "Would you like to work as a teacher abroad?" It would be great. I used to teach abroad. I've taught in Spain, mainland Spain, and I've taught in Tenerife, which is, of course, a part of Spain, but it's not part of the main island, the mainland, the peninsula. And I really enjoyed it. I loved it a lot. I miss Spain. And I would love to teach abroad again. But, I mean, now I've started my own business and I teach on Skype as well as in person here. It would be quite hard to move abroad and work out all the tax purposes for being freelance abroad. Really, when you're freelance, it's quite tricky to work out taxes. And many people might be thinking, but why pay taxes? But I mean, I'm too much of an honest person, so I feel like I should pay them, you know, wherever I'm a resident in. So the next one, I am Nick Hill 1. Since you have been teaching many students, how often did you realize that if not teaching, then what other profession would you opt for? So I think the question is, if you hadn't chosen teaching, what would you have chosen instead? I've never had moments where I've doubted wanting to be a teacher. But if I could choose any other profession, it would be something like being a doctor or a nurse or a vet. Like, I would have to be in some other profession where I'm helping other people, definitely. Someone said, it's so kind hearing your objectives. Yeah, I just want to be happy, guys. That's all I want in life. Just a nice, simple, happy life. Someone's asked in the comments, what's my religion? I don't follow any particular religion right now in my life. That doesn't mean to say that I don't believe that there is a higher power, let's say, that there is no God. I believe that there must be something for so many people to follow this, you know. You know, I have met people who have said that anyone who's religious is crazy. And I think, no, I don't think they are. The fact that millions of people around the world are religious, it makes me wonder, you know, maybe they know something else, they've experienced something else, they believe in something. So, yeah, I mean, it's each to their own, really. I really couldn't care what your religion was, so long as you were a nice person. So if you're a nice person and you are, I don't know, Christian, Catholic, Protestant, Muslim, whatever, Buddhist, I really couldn't care, so long as you're a nice person. So, yeah, I have no particular religion. It's a good question, though. Someone said Scientology. It's not, no. So the next one, Anto13X has asked, what is your best/worst experience as a teacher and what kind of traveller are you? So to answer the first one, my best experience as a teacher, I don't think I have a best experience. I think, you know, one of the best experiences I've ever had, I would say it's probably, you know, when the student has that light bulb moment when you've been teaching them something for what seems like ages and then they finally get it, like they understand. And you're like, oh, I did that. I helped you understand that. So yeah, I love those moments. And also those moments when my students say to me things like, Emma, I got the job, you know, I did that interview and I got the job and or whatever. And I think, oh, that's fantastic. I've helped with that, you know. And what kind of traveller are you? I'm not the best traveller, I would say. I mean, I love travelling and I love, you know, going to different countries, even different towns in the UK, but I'm not so much of a fan of things like backpacking. You know, I really enjoy just going away for 2 weeks, have a nice break, go somewhere else, have a break, another week, have a break, something like that. And I think it's maybe a little bit cheaper. It means I can still work. Again, being freelance, if you're traveling so much and you need the internet, my job 100% relies on the internet. So if I'm traveling to many different places, it's really not good. Diego asks, why did you decide to teach English, specifically pronunciation? I guess we've already spoken about that. And do you have any plans to have a child in the future? That's such a random jump. Like, how do you become a teacher? Do you want children? So let's start with the first one. Why did you decide to teach English? For people who don't know the story of how I started getting into English teaching, it's quite a funny story. So basically, I started teaching in my year abroad. So during my degree, in the UK, your degree is 3 years. So in the first year of my degree, I was in England. I studied in York. The second year of my degree, I went to Spain. And the third year, I had to return back to York to finish my degree. But in that second year, I remember the coordinator gave me a list of all the modules. And she said, okay, Emma, you need to choose your classes for what you want to do in Spain. What do you want to do? And I really didn't want to do exams because in Spain, for anyone here that is Spanish, you will know that Spanish universities and the Spanish education system love exams, you know? So I wanted to avoid them. And basically I asked, what is this program here? It was called the Smile program. It meant something. I don't remember, like Spanish, something. Smile program. Like, what is this? And they said, oh, that's when you can go into a school as a language assistant. And I thought, oh, fantastic. Do I have to do exams? No, you don't do any work. Oh, perfect. Put me down for the highest number of credits, please. Just spat everywhere. Put me down for the highest number of credits, please. So, yeah, I did that. That's how I started. And it was basically out of laziness. That's how I started teaching. So, yeah. And do I have plans to have children in the future? Not right now. I mean, my baby is my career. I'm focusing so much on my business and my work. And I mean, I'm only 26. I feel that I'm still quite young. And children are not everything in life. Some people have other priorities. For example, right now, I believe that I should be getting my life in order. I should have a stable job. I should have, somewhere good to live, not this tiny place where I live now. And my life needs to be in order before I think of children. There are many steps before I need to start thinking of children. It's not on my mind right now, nor is marriage. Let's see, how are the comments? Hi Emma, why don't you open a course in London? Because I'm not in London. To do personally, not online. To do in person and not online. Well, that's because I don't live in London. That's why. That's my answer to that question. So the next one, Shadi asks, hi Emma, could you please explain about the difference between CELTA and TESOL certificates and which one is more acceptable and valid in Europe? Firstly, both are acceptable. If you do a TEFL, TESOL, TESOL or CELTA, they're all fine. But I would say the CELTA, the Cambridge CELTA, is the most widely accepted, and there are many places that will only hire people with a CELTA. So if you have the money, go for CELTA. Go for that one. And which one have I got? I have the CELTA. So I have a bachelor's in English language and linguistics. I have a Cambridge CELTA certificate, so I'm qualified to teach English. And I also have a master's in English language teaching. Those are my qualifications. Valentina asks, good day, Emma. Good day, Valentina. How do you treat yourself, especially after stressful situations? Oh my goodness, every day is a stressful situation for me. What helps you not to leave a great mood? So yeah, what helps you to stay in a good mood is better maybe. I would say that to treat myself, I really take pleasure in the little things in life. Like, for example, just having a really nice cup of tea, or just going outside and sitting on the wall, probably with my cup of tea, for 5 minutes and just seeing the sun and looking at the blue sky, which doesn't happen so often in England. Things like that. That's how I like to relax, is just take those little moments to yourself, just like 5 minutes, and just leave your phone, go outside, just sit down 5 minutes, watch some people, this kind of thing. It's the little things in life that make a difference, I think, anyway. If you chose to do CELTA within that period of time, you won't have a social life for a month. Exactly, Carlos. Actually, it's really, really normal to break down, have a mental breakdown during a CELTA. I personally had 1.5 breakdowns. What I mean is that you just stop and you just start crying because you're working so hard. Honestly, don't work at the same time. It's really hard, is CELTA. Ooh, this one's really small. Can we read it? Ooh, let's try. Okay, I might have to I was going to say I might have to zoom in, but I can't with my eyes. Hi Emma, why do you think pronunciation is the most neglected area of English teaching? Well, for one, I don't think it's the most neglected area. I think it is one of the most neglected, but I don't think it's the most neglected. In my personal opinion, I think the most neglected area of English teaching is probably pragmatics. It's really like, what kind of textbooks do you open up and there's a pragmatic section? None, really. It's such an overlooked area, yet it's incredibly important. What are the best methods of teaching pronunciation? I don't think there is a best method, in my opinion. I think there are methods which are more effective than other methods. You can check out a book. Oh God, what's the name of the book? If you check out Adrian Underhill, I think it's called Sound Foundations, or the Foundations of Sound, or something like that. I don't remember, but it's by Adrian Underhill. I remember it's a red book. Check out that book because he talks about some techniques in there. So have a look there. What challenges have you faced in teaching pronunciation in EFL classrooms? I would say that you have to be incredibly patient. Incredibly patient. Some students, they are just completely tone deaf and they can't hear the difference between sounds. So with these students, you need a bit more patience. Patience is seriously key. And, on some days, I have almost lost my patience with some people just because it's like, why are you not understanding this sound? Open your ears. Like, it's just, sometimes I look and I'm like, how do you not understand? But, I mean, patience is key. I would say 99.9% of the time, I'm very calm, very patient. It's just maybe on a bad day when I'm like that, but it's very rare, very. I think I've only exploded once, and I think that was just with my boyfriend, so it wasn't with a student. Don't worry. How can non-native English speakers pick up the British accent? Well, listening and repeating, mimicking, all of these things are super important. So listen to native speakers. It can just be me right now listening. So as you're listening, just repeat, Repeat, really focus on the sounds. That's one really good way. Another fantastic way, actually, I'll talk about that in a moment because there's another question that really relates to that answer. Someone's asked, what is your skill? I'm not sure what that means. Could you talk about intonation? Not today, because it's a Q&A, and I've already got 31 questions to go through. Don't Devia. You just want to smack them. Oh no, I don't want to hit my students. That's really mean. But honestly, if it's someone like a friend or, my boyfriend who's Spanish, honestly, I just want to why don't you open your ears, man? Anyway, next one. Hi Emma, are you interested in etymology? Especially in English, I'm always looking for the words, blah, blah, blah. So, yes, I am interested in etymology, to answer that question. Yeah, I mean, as you start to learn more and more languages, you start to make connections between them. And I love that. I love, finding a word in English and thinking, oh, that's so much like the German, or that's so much like the Greek or the Spanish, whatever, I love doing that. Carolina's English Life has asked, if you could have an amazing experience in the wild with any animal, which would you choose? I ask this because I've lately become obsessed with the idea of swimming with sea turtles. And those little tortoise emojis. I have no idea what I would go and be wild with. I guess, what would be really cool? Like being with horses or something like that. Does it have to be a real animal? Could I choose something like unicorns just to be a bit different? I would go running around with unicorns. I would say a dragon, but no, the dragon might kill me if it's a friendly dragon. Yeah, but if we're in the real world, I would say some horses, running around with horses. That would be cool. Ooh, did I just skip one? No, I didn't. Ascendido asks, hi teacher Emma. Hello. Great work. You did this last month. Thank you very much. You're welcome. My question is about your podcast. Is it still in your near future plans? Not right now. So I was planning on doing a podcast, but honest to God, I'm so busy. If I started with a podcast, I would have literally no free time. I would have to be recording at maybe 12 o'clock in the morning because it would be the only time I would have some free time. So for now, no. But I do guest star, like I'm famous. I do appear as a guest in some other people's podcasts. So whenever I do, I share those. But for now, I own one. Probably not for now. Okay. El pinche. So this guy has asked, you started this project a year ago and now you've reached 6,000 followers on YouTube and lots of followers here on Instagram. Whee! What's next for this year? Poof, good question. What would you like to accomplish? How do you see yourself a year from now? It's a really good question. I have no clue. My goal is really to kind of just keep going with this to see where it ends up. I would really love to. I don't know. I don't have an end goal. I mean, for many people, the end goal is I want to reach 1 million subscribers on YouTube, but this isn't even my goal. I mean, my goal is just to, I don't even know, just see where it goes. I'm a real big lover of, going down a path and finding out where that path will take you. It's like the same when I did my linguistics degree. I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. I was so scared when I chose to do my linguistics degree because I didn't know what I was going to do after that. So I kind of enjoy that process of like not knowing where you're going just yet and kind of letting the path find you in a way. So let's see. But where do I see myself a year from now? I would love to have a course. I would love to have an online course where everything's structured and really clear, and have that available for people who want to focus on pronunciation. I would love to do more about, I don't know, listening practice, that kind of thing, understanding natives, so much. But really, I don't have a goal, with all of this. Mia asks, hi Emma. Hello, Mia. My question is, how do you deal with the negative comments or inappropriate ones? Well, once upon a time, I would have shamed the person. So, I would have taken a screenshot and put it on Instagram or whatever. But now, honestly, I'm just too busy. I can't even be bothered. So I just see the messages and I just block. But I mean, trolls and idiots are like grey hairs. So if you pull one grey hair out, 5 more grow in its place. I find it's the same with trolls. You block one, 5 more trolls appear in their place. And honestly, some people are crazy, crazy, crazy trolls. I think I've told some of you guys that in the past, I've had people create multiple accounts just to try and talk to me and, pester me and bother me and troll me. I've had people create accounts on other social media platforms to attack me and things like that. Honestly, people are crazy. I've had people even email me. They find out my email address, which isn't hard to get because it's on my website and on Instagram, but they get my email address and they're like, why did you block me, you bitch? Fuck you, da da da. And it's like, that's why I blocked you. Because you're crazy. Yeah, I mean, if you're just a nice person, I wouldn't have to block you. It's so simple. But yeah. Let's see. Any questions here so far? My question won't be in the list tonight. No, I didn't see your question, Carlos. You're doing good here in the comments. He is Carlos. He's doing well. Yeah, I can't believe they have time for that. I know, like, get a hobby. Did I ever tell you guys the story of the crazy Brazilian woman? I would say that 99.9% of my Brazilian followers are amazing people. They're really nice people. But I've had, I think, 2 crazy Brazilians. And one in particular, she contacted me on my Facebook page. So not my profile, but my page. She contacted me on there and basically wanted free English classes. And I said, no, I'm not going to give you free English classes because I've got to work. Sorry, I've got to pay my bills. And of course, she got very angry, very offended. She sent me a super long message, basically saying that I like to scam people, I con people, I beg people for money, that I'm basically just a bitch, that I'm a piece of shit who just likes to make money. I mean, guys, I'm the kind of person who shops in charity shops just to shave my money, to save my money. Like, I really do not spend a lot of money on things. And so I just blocked her on my page. This crazy girl found my personal Facebook profile. So I have 2. I have a business profile and I have a personal one. This crazy girl found my personal Facebook profile, messaged me and continued attacking me. I blocked her instantly. She then went to my YouTube channel and she started commenting on my videos like, oh, you're a bitch, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's wrong with you? It's Friday night. Go outside, woman. Honest to God, crazy. But yeah. People saying, oh my God, in the comments. Honestly, people are mental. They just have too much free time, I think. And imagine if that happened in real life. You would be in prison for harassment. But anyway, so Carmen asks, tips you can use to learn other languages. Your Spanish accent is pro. Gracias. So I would say this is the question I wanted to go to about learning other languages and improving your accent. So the way that I learned Spanish was through full immersion. This doesn't mean that you have to go to the country in which the language is spoken that you're learning in order to learn it. You can completely immerse yourself just within your home by reading books, magazines, changing your phone to English, changing your social media pages to English, changing your computer to English. So listening to English radio, podcasts and things like that, you could really, really immerse yourself just in your home, you know, and have your home as like a little English haven almost. And then when you're out in the street, don't waste time. Listen to a podcast on the way to work in English. Find an exchange partner online, you know. Really, there are so many ways. So mine was a completely different experience, and my boyfriend now is Spanish, so I can talk to him in Spanish whenever I want. And yeah, the way that I improved my Spanish pronunciation though was with a really, really good trick. And what I did is I used to copy my Spanish friends speaking English. So for example, you know, my Spanish friends, when speaking English, they used to say to me like, hello, how are you? You know, they would say like this really strong hello. So I realized like, okay, so Spanish speakers don't have this h, it's not hello, it's hello. And not even hello, but it's hello, you know, things like this. So it made me aware of the differences in the sounds and things like, what do you do? You know, my friends would say, what do you do? And that made me realize, oh, they don't say, what do you do? It's what do you do? So their tongue was actually touching behind their teeth, not on what we call the alveolar ridge a bit further back, which we would do in English. So that's how I improved my accent, just by copying my friends. Iban says, I have a question. Tips to get the IELTS? I would say practice test papers. There are many YouTube channels out there. I really love the website IELTS Liz, so go and check out her website. I've never spoken to her, but I love her website. So Liz, fantastic job. How do you prepare for it? Test papers, as I said. Test papers. And I would also recommend finding a private teacher. If you go to a school, you're not going to get that one-to-one attention that you need. While if you have a private lesson, I'm not advertising myself, it doesn't have to be me, but find a private teacher just for a couple of lessons to go through and fine-tune the things that you need to do. That's my advice. As for studying at Bristol University, it completely depends if you're in the EU or outside the EU. My advice would be to look at the website UCAS. 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 Have a look on there and you'll find so much more information. Fun Egg. Hi Emma. Hello. Thank you so much for your special teachings every day. You're welcome. My question is very simple. What do you think is the most important thing in life? Happiness. I think happiness is the most important thing. You can have all the money in the world, all the women, all the men, the sexiest body, the fastest car, be the most famous person, but if you're not happy, yeah, that's my answer. Happiness is the most important thing. Hello Emma, you are a fantastic teacher. Thank you. Many thanks to you. You are doing well. You are doing so well. I've never seen a teacher in my life like you. Thank you. My question is, how do you become like a native speaker? Because my level is upper intermediate. Well, it depends what you mean by to be like a native speaker. If you mean sounding like a native speaker, then focus on your pronunciation. Have a look at the live and some of the tips that I mentioned. But if you mean in terms of grammar and things like that, again, full immersion, immerse yourself in the language. I don't know what people say here, but yeah. Someone has asked an interesting question. What language do you and your boyfriend use to communicate between the two of you in your everyday life? We actually speak mostly English, probably because we're in England. I work in English because I'm an English teacher. My boyfriend works in English because, of course, we're in England, so all his colleagues have to speak English. So it's kind of normal to speak English, but from time to time we do change and speak in Spanish, but I would say it's a good 80% Spanish. 80% English, 20% Spanish. Did I answer all of that? Yeah, I did. Have you ever felt that you want to forget your native language and speak in your second language? I felt that so many times. My answer would be no. Because if I couldn't speak English, then I would have no job. Yeah, I would have to say no on that one. But I understand what you mean. But, I think your native language is beautiful. Don't hate it. Oh, another tiny comment. I feel you are a halo of hope. Oh, kindness and positive energy. I like those emojis. Many thanks for everything. For the Q&A, if you're happy to say your favourite singer, favourite movie, favourite novel, and apart from York and Bristol, what is your favourite city in the UK and that you admire to live in, or that you would like to live in, and why? So let's start with the favourite singer. I don't have a favourite singer. I don't actually listen to that much music. I listen to music if it's on in the background and things like that, or if it's on the radio, and I always know the words, but I don't have a favourite singer. I was a big fan of The Killers when I was younger, and I really loved like Kaiser Chiefs, Keane. Oof, yeah, that kind of music I really liked when I was younger. I mean, I still like it now, but I don't listen to them so much. I mean, when you listen to the radio, it's just Justin Bieber all the time, isn't it? So, Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, and who's that other one? Nicki Minaj. It's just those all the time. Favourite movie? I don't know. I don't know what my favourite movie is. Help me, guys. Do you have any favourite movies? I don't have one. I really enjoyed Borat when I was younger. Yeah, I loved Borat. I wouldn't say it's my favourite, but I definitely loved it. My favourite novel, I think my favourite novel, and it's going to surprise you because it's not Harry Potter, but my favourite novel, or my favourite book, I should say, is Memoirs of a Geisha. I love that book. I actually cried when I finished it. I was so disappointed. I know it's ended. And my favourite part of York and Bristol. Now, my favourite part of Bristol is an area called Harbourside, and it's in the very centre, and it's just a harbour, basically. Harbourside, and in the harbour. It's just really nice. There are loads of bars and cafes and restaurants and loads of people around, so I love to go there. In York, I would say my favourite part in York is definitely just the city centre in general. The streets are just beautiful, old, Victorian, Tudor style, such a mix of different parts of history in one city. I love it. My favourite city in the UK is York, and I would love to move back to York. But the reason why we haven't moved back to York is because my boyfriend doesn't want to move back to the north because he said it's too cold. So yeah. Let's see. Jane Austen's film, Bridget Jones. That's a good one. A TV series called Bodyguard. I've not heard of that one. Borat. It's so good. It's so bad that it's so good. So the next one, Capitano says, firstly, I would like to say I love you, Emma. Thank you. Secondly, what is Q&A? Question and answer. Thirdly, I want to know, do British people use grammar while speaking in normal everyday life? Yes, we do. Next question. Now we're on the Facebook ones. That means we're getting towards the end. So let me make these a little bit bigger, because they're quite smaller, these images. So Juno asks, hi, my question is, what is your favorite food at Christmas? Well, this year will be my first vegetarian Christmas, so I'm gonna be eating some new stuff, I'm sure. But I would say, what do I love at Christmas? I just love all the sweets and things like that. I love just the typical Christmas dinner that we have, and it's going to be strange having a vegetarian version of it this year, because traditionally in the UK we have turkey, but what I do, because it's just me and my boyfriend living together, we have chicken because it's smaller and it's cheaper. So, and I find that turkey is normally quite dry sometimes, so yeah, I don't know what we're going to do this year. First vegetarian Christmas. I think my boyfriend will probably protest because he still eats meat. But I would definitely say some kind of pudding. But God, I don't know. I will have a think about that one. But I would definitely just say the whole meal in general is really good. Aina, what's the best and worst thing about being a teacher? I think I've kind of answered this a little bit before. I talked about the best things, those light bulb moments, and the worst thing. But I never talked about the worst thing on the last question, did I? My worst experience. I didn't mention that. I think the worst ever experience I've had was, I have a couple, but I still remember one time I was organising some group lessons. And this Italian girl, she, I don't know, she was just very hostile towards me. And I don't quite know why. Like, I hadn't done anything to her. But she wasn't happy with the lesson. She said, oh, this lesson's too easy for me, etc. And I said, well, you should have known the lesson because it said, you know, in all the documents and everything, the book I would be using and the level, etc. And she said, no, I didn't see that. It's your responsibility to make it clear. And I said it was clear. It said on the website, it's right here. It said in the email, in the document I sent you, it's here. It's all very clear. You just didn't read it. So, yeah, and I mean, the girl had an upper intermediate level of English. So there was no excuse like, oh, I didn't understand. You know, this girl had a good level. And she, after the lesson, she was demanding her money back. And I said, no, I can't, because you've taken a place in a course that someone else could have had. So I can't give you your money back. And it also says no refunds, because it's just, you know, you should have read this information beforehand. I was very fair with her, very open. And when you're self-employed, every little bit of money is so important, you know. You don't know when you're going to get paid next. So yeah, she was demanding her money. She was shouting at me in my own home, and I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? Like, how dare she shout at me in my own home when I've done nothing wrong? And she kept kind of putting the blame on me the whole time, like, it's your fault, you weren't clear with me, you were trying to con me, trying to take my money and so on. Like, no, it's not the case at all, you idiot. So yeah, I stayed very calm with her and managed to kick her out of the house in the end. But yeah, sorry, my laptop's dying and I made a rookie mistake of not plugging it in before we started. Aye, Emma. Okay, let's hope this is okay. There we go. So, yeah, I think that's probably the worst thing, is sometimes dealing with very difficult students, in the sense that they think that because they pay you, they own you and you are their bitch, and it's not the case. I mean, there has to be a mutual level of respect. Maria says, what kind of British accent do you have? I have a very neutral accent. I'm from York originally, so my original accent is Yorkshire, but I would say that my accent, is quite, I don't know how to explain it. It's very mixed right now, but it's very neutral. Terry. So Terry is a fellow English teacher, and he says, I have a question. How do you keep up with such phenomenal work rates? Yeah, I do work a lot. Like, if anyone knows me and knows me personally, they would know that I work a lot. And there are times where it's almost a dangerous amount that I'm working. But I'm just a workaholic. I work a lot. I get very bored, if I don't work. So, yeah, I'm a workaholic. Help me. Safa says, how do you get your energy? It's so funny because I have had a few people ask me, like, are you on drugs? Do you take something before your lesson? Do you drink Red Bull? Do you drink energy drinks? Do you drink alcohol before your lessons? No, of course not. You must understand, guys, that the energy that I have in my lessons isn't what I have all the time. What you see on camera and the energy I have on camera is very different in person. I would say I'm a little bit more relaxed. I'm not vastly different to how I am on camera, but I'm definitely a bit quieter and a bit more relaxed in person. But it depends, it depends. So the next question, what's your attitude when you make a mistake in front of students? Well, it depends on the kind of mistake. If it's a mistake and I realize the mistake, I would just say whoops and then I change it. But if it's a mistake where the student realizes, again, it's just whoops, oops, sorry. That's it, I'm only human, guys. I have a question. I have a question, I think that means. How can I learn pronunciation properly? We've talked about this already. Repetition, immersion, mimicking. So imitation is a really big one. I think we're getting towards the end of the questions. Good, it's nearly an hour. So why did you become a teacher? We talked about that really out of laziness, but then I really enjoyed it, so I continued. And maybe can you tell us about your first experience as an English teacher? Wow, yeah, my first experience as an English teacher, I was very, very nervous. I was very scared. I was shaking. I was sweating. I was red. I was just so embarrassed. And I had to introduce myself in front of everyone. Hi, my name is Emma. I'm here to be the language assistant. So yeah, I was so nervous about that one. It was horrible. Sometimes now I get embarrassed, if I have to teach groups and stuff, but I'm a fairly confident person, so yeah, and not so much now. Pretty Queen, is that your real name? That's freaking awesome if it is. Hello, my name is Pretty Queen, but you can call me Pretty. Can you tell us how can you behave and what to say and do in the first day of teaching? Introduce yourself, set some rules, make sure people don't try and walk all over you, but just act yourself, don't try and think you're better than the student, don't try and be their friend, with my students, I teach, I would say, all private lessons, and there is a line between being friends with your student and being the teacher, and I like to find that balance. I don't want to be like, okay, let's do grammar today and it's super serious. I do like to have that rapport, and I like to know what's going on in my students' lives to a certain extent. I don't want to know everything, but I'm genuinely interested in my student, and I'm genuinely interested to know how they are and what's going on in their life, because if things are not going well in their life, that affects their classes, that then affects me. So I like to know more about my students, but some teachers don't. It's like, they like to be very distant from their students, and they don't like to know anything about them. It's just they come to the lesson, they do the class, and bang, see you later, see you next class. But I don't like that so much, Dali, thanks a lot. You're welcome. As a teacher, how can I keep my learners' interest learners interested in the lesson, I'm guessing, especially when they find it boring. So you need to find out what your students are interested in. So if you're doing lessons, for example, I'm going to play on something super stereotypical here, but let's say you have a class of 12-year-old girls and you're talking about football. You know, I'm being super stereotypical just purely as an example, but you know, imagine you're in a situation like that where you talk about football or boy things, man things. You know, I don't believe in man things and girl things, but for the sake of example, that's not going to appeal so much to a 12-year-old girl. So you need to find out what your students are interested in and what are their goals in English. So why are they learning English? What is it for? Is it for an exam? Is it for a job? Is it so they pass a job interview? Is it so they can communicate with their friends? Why is that? Find out why. If you're in a situation where, for example, you're teaching in a public school and, you know, the students, they have to do the lessons, it's compulsory because it's set by the school and the government, then, you know, find things that interest them. Don't, you know, can you remember being about 12 years old and wanting to talk about the environment? Jesus Christ, I would have hated to talk about the environment, but that's always in the textbook, isn't it? Always talking about the environment, talking about politics and education. 12-year-olds don't give a damn about, you know, the ozone layer disappearing because we're using too much spray deodorant. They don't care. You need to find things that interest them for their age, for their level, and for their goals. So that's my advice on that one. I think this might be the last one. Do you only teach online or do you teach in a real class as well? I think you mean, do I teach online as well as in person? I teach online on Skype. I will be moving over to Zoom after Christmas though, because Skype is being a massive pain in the backside right now. Thank you, Microsoft. But in person, yeah, I also teach in person in Bristol as well. And why? Because, mate, I need to pay my bills. I can't do things for free forever. My landlord would go crazy. He would kick me out of the house. And that's it. So, perfect. That's the end of those questions. 31 questions and just less than an hour. Perfect. Were there any questions in here in the comments before we finish? We need more Yorkshire accents. Definitely. I have a Yorkshire dialect video in mind, so I want to go through some Yorkshire grammar and vocabulary one day. That'd be interesting. How do you boost yourself for busy days? Coffee and tea, mate. Literally. That's it. Coffee and tea. I'm not even kidding. I've had to switch from coffees to full coffees to espressos just so I can literally like teach. But yeah, it's not so often now. Keep drinking water, rest a little bit before lessons, and you'll be fine. I understand you perfectly. Your accent is so clear. Thank you, Alejandro. People are asking others to make a WhatsApp group. Yeah, it's so nice. Having a little community making a WhatsApp group. Don't be saying bad things about me though, will you, in the WhatsApp group? Thanks a million for your dedication, Emma. You're very welcome, Dania. I hope I pronounced your name correct. I like when you laugh. Emma is an ideal British girl. It's that accent. Thank you. Her behaviour. I don't know how British people are. I'm so out of touch now because I don't have any British friends anymore. I have a few, but they live far away, so yeah. What do you think about our level of English when we know what you are talking about in this live? I'm not sure I understand that. I mean, if you understand me now, then it means you have a good level. A real class. So your class is real? 100%, mate. Authentic. Thanks a million for the dedication. No worries at all. It's my pleasure. Emma, before you finish, please can you let me know if you like Latin American men? Wow, my boyfriend is Spanish and his family are from South America. Just saying. More tea than coffee, right? No, it's more coffee than tea. Yeah, I drink a lot of coffee. How many accents are there in Yorkshire? A lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. Yeah, you're a great teacher. I haven't seen a good teacher like you. Thank you very much. I'm also a teacher. Ah, a peer. Hello. You're the best teacher I've ever seen. Oh, thank you. Oh, guys, you're making me blush. Anyway, I'm going to finish there because I pretty much finished. It's been 1 hour and my voice is killing me. I'm going to sound like a man any moment soon. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. I managed to answer almost everyone's questions. So thank you so much if you were watching this live, if you're watching the replay, and also if you submitted a question. I'm sorry if I haven't answered your question. It's either because it's a repeated question, something that's extremely personal, or it was a silly question, or it was asked too late and I'd already planned this. So I'm sorry, but I try. So someone's asked, what's your advice for IELTS? Go back and watch this live again because I answered that question. But anyway, thank you so much. Oh, everyone's just saying it's sad that the live lessons are coming to an end. There will be more in the future, don't worry. But for now, I need to rest and have a bit of a life because it's been a packed month. I can tell you it is not easy doing a live every day while sustaining a full-time business. Anyway, have a fantastic day and I will see you next week. The videos will start again. We'll be starting with pronunciation videos again, as this month, past month I should say, has been focusing mostly on grammar and vocabulary. So we'll be going back to normal pronunciation lessons at Pronunciation with Emma next week. So remember, every single Friday, pronunciation lesson. I will see you then. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend too. See you later.